Ring Gang Radio here with the IBF Flyweight Champion of the world, Mr. Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards, how are you doing today?
No, I'm good. Thank you for asking.
No problem, man. Listen, this is the fight that you have been calling for a while. Listen, I've seen you on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on interviews, wanting this fight, calling out Bam Rodriguez for this fight. Now, there's no more having to call him out, no more having to chase him. You got him. He's right here. How do you feel about that? Is there a sigh of relief now that you know that it's finally done? This is the fight that you've wanted, and now you've got it.
Until the first bell goes, the fight's never made. That's how I genuinely believe anything can happen. Seeing him today, he didn't seem full of life. He didn't seem full of confidence. Seemed a bit out of shape, overweight. I don't know if his camp started yet. I don't think he started sparring yet, recovering from his injury. So who knows? There might be some more twists and turns in the plot line. I don't think so. I can't account for that. I know I'll be there. I know come 16th of December, I'm going to be in the best fighting shape I've ever been in, and I'm going to be ready. So hopefully he is too. They asked for as much time. We got the last fight pretty much in the schedule for this side of the year because they needed it for the recovery, for camp, etc. They wanted it in America. They got it in America. They wanted it in Arizona. They got it here. They got everything they wanted to make this fight happen because I'm not going to lose big fights, big opportunities to prove my greatness and to really kick on and keep my storyline and legacy going over, an extra 50 grand or whatever's falling out over, or making sure my name's first, or making sure this, all that's immaterial. I just want to get in the ring and I want the opportunity to prove myself. And yeah, right now we're here. The build-up started. We've met face to face. It's funny. I didn't feel most energy from him. Heard some things he said in interviews saying, "Oh, Sonny didn't really speak much." He didn't speak at all. I think he's very humble and he's quite reserved. And I feel like who he is outside of a boxing ring, it's probably very different to who I am. I'm very confident. I can be outspoken and want to be. I don't like putting myself on people or, trying to ruin people's day with my presence. But I can be outspoken. I can be forward thinking, and I'm very comfortable looking at someone I'm about to fight in the eyes and standing on my belief that I'm going to win. And I feel like the energy that I got from him today was of someone that didn't really want to be here. Maybe it's just he didn't really want to do the speaking and the build-up, but maybe he doesn't really want to be involved in the fight. I know for a fact that he got pushed in the corner. I know they was exploring other options. I know they was actually putting other options to our promoter. I know that they was looking at super flyweight. I know that it got stalled for days because they was asking for more money. I know it got stalled for days because they was making sure it was happening in America and no other place. I know it got stalled for days because they was trying to make a 16-foot ring happen, which I laughed at and went, shut the fuck up now, you're taking the piss. Go 20 foot. I'm not asking for 24. I'm not asking for a running track field. Go straight down the middle and stop playing games now. If you want the fight, you want it. If not, we're going somewhere else. And then the fight got made. I feel like that was backed into it by their promoter. I feel like, the way I approached my last fight, I just stood in front of him, let the kid look a little bit better, gave him a little bit more success. It kind of got to a point where if Bam don't take this fight now, his career and the, at least, image side of things can definitely get affected by avoiding me, because bear in mind, a year ago, they told me that they was dropping down from super flyweight as world champion to come down to flyweight, to come to the UK to win my title off me. And I was waiting for all of that to happen, and in the end, they went and won a vacant title against someone no one had ever heard of, struggled, broke his jaw, and then was trying to get out of the fight with me from the conversations I've had with our promoter and how long it took. And I was already ready and signed and agreed and knew everything that was going on and was just waiting on their side. So with all of that considered, I feel like, yeah, maybe deep down, there's 3, 4, 5 fights he'd rather be having than this one. And the difference is, he's the only fight I want right now. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And, it was funny you mentioned that, because I was going to mention that, how Robert Garcia was adamant on social media, listen, we're going to England and we're going to take his title from him. And now all of a sudden, now everything is completely different. Does that add extra motivation because of you feel like they're playing games with you, and now it's just like, okay, now when we get in the ring, now it's going to be worse for you. Like, what's the extra added motivation to that?
So what I think happened, I'm not going to drop no one in it, just from private conversations. At one point, Garcia was speaking about me and Bam before he'd watched me fight. And this, to my knowledge, this announcement of fighting me happened before. And then someone had a conversation where they believed that they showed Garcia the first ever proper footage of me fighting. And then it was a bit of a change, and ever since then, everything started changing. The responses were less. All of a sudden, I became a good fighter. But at one point, it was an easy win, and I'm easy work. Then all of a sudden, I'm a great fighter. I'm a good fighter. I've got this. I've got that. So I think once Robert probably really had a look, that's when the doubts started coming. I think they just might have looked at the outside. Someone get put down a couple of times coming up, or no knockouts, or whatever they thought, and just looked and categorized me as an easy fight. And I think when they broke it down, that's when they started needing to think about size of the rings. Now, let's not go to the UK, actually. Let's forget about that. Let's forget we said that. Let's not mention it. Like, let's pretend we didn't put out a whole little press release and that's what we're going to do. And let's forget. And let's just go to America, try and get a 16-foot ring, try and get me in the hottest place in America, etc., etc. All of that's fine. I do not care.
Well, you definitely seem like, you know what, I just want the fight, and if I got to come to America to take it, I'm going to take it. So, and that's always respectable.
But I get confidence from the fact that months and months and months before it was even banned, when they were still looking at maybe other options, I'd already agreed everything. So then when Eddie's saying that, well, to be fair, you was the easiest fight I've ever made to fight with. And him over there wasn't, you know what I mean? I get confidence from that. And it's easy for him now when asked to say, what about 16-foot ring, or why did it be in America? And he's easy now to go, well, I don't know what happens in those conversations. So what, you've got no direction of your career? You just let them do whatever they want with you, tell you how much you're fighting for, tell me who you're fighting for. They have all of these negotiations to the point of stalling fights. All off your back? Goddamn. I hope you know where your money's going before it gets paid. You know what I mean? Like, that's a bit scary. Like, come on, you're 20. I know you're 23, so you're young, but what, you don't want to be in no? Like, I've got direction in my career. I say things, and then my team work around me. I go for the fight I want to go. I accept the fight. You know what I mean? I turn down the fight. It's not all done above my head. You know what I mean?
Definitely. You mentioned, his age. He's coming up the ranks pretty quickly, because it was just it seemed like out of nowhere. It's almost like you wonder if it's too much too soon. Do you feel like his youth and maybe his lack of experience will come to bite him against you? Because he's a young kid. He's still not ready yet. Some people might think that. So, and I've heard people say that. He's still not ready for Sonny. Sonny gonna outbox him. Do you think his lack of youth will come back to him? You think you have the advantage there because of the seasoned vet?
I feel like a lot of people, it's easy from outside the boxing ring. They look at me fighting the 38-year-old fighters or the 33-year-old fighters. Oh, they're old. I've been in the ring with hundreds, if not thousands of people. And if you ask me right now, no matter if I'm just blind, they haven't got a name, they haven't got a thing, just a record and an age, I'd rather fight the 23-year-old every time than the 33-year-old or the 35-year-old. Because them rings are harder to be in with. Trust me, I've been in the ring with 20. I'm good fighters as well. And it's always a bit different. The physicality is a bit different. The way they clinch is a bit different. The way they maneuver, the way their mind works is a bit different. When you've got someone that I fought who are coming over with 40 fights, 38 wins, 29 knockouts, and 33 knockouts, and only two fighters like this, yeah? They're coming over, being everywhere, seen everything, and they have a cold emotion because they're just doing their job. And it's not until the last couple of rounds that the panic starts kicking in because they're not getting to me. With Bam, the moment he starts looking silly, the moment he's not finding the target, or the moment he's trying to do them little blind, quick step, feet down and power, and in all of that process, he's tried to do his maneuver, and I've just stuck my hands back, and now he's there looking stupid. That's really going to start playing into him. Once the crowd goes quiet, oh, what's happening here? Why is my home crowd quiet? That's going to start playing. If nothing's happening, he's going to start trying to force it as the home. And I know through the mind of being a 23-year-old, you're more naive and green to the ring than you're going to be if you keep fighting for the next 4 years at 27. If you go backwards from 23 to 27, you're doing something fucking wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, do you feel like already that you were already in his head? Because the way he's reacted, the way it's just, he's not giving you much, yeah. And then at the end, he was like, I'm going to take your title. It almost seemed like now he has some bass in his voice. You're like, oh, now you're finally showing some life in you. Do you feel like that was a sign of, listen, I'm already in his head?
Well, you felt that as well, didn't it? Because he didn't say nothing. The first response after I spoke for about 5 minutes, he said 4 words. It's just very it is reserved, but all the same time negative, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
I've heard him speak with more confidence than he has in this stage today, but this is his biggest fight. And he's got someone that's English speaking that he could build a fight with if so wanted to. If Klee doesn't want to. Why doesn't he want to attract as many eyes to this event as possible? Why doesn't he? The only thing I would be thinking is that you don't want as many people to see you get beat. That's the only way my mind would take it. Like, you want to interview me? I've got a fight card. I'm going to do it. Guys, make the fight bigger. Even if one more person watches it from this, or 2 more people watch from it, or get interested, or now know who I am, it's all in the right direction. It's all putting the pennies in the bank to make for a big event. Look, Rodriguez versus Edwards. I want this to stand as something in future times to come.
Yeah.
But he's alright with it just being, no one knows about it, don't speak about it, just be respectful and, but why? Why? His brother retired at 27 as soon as he lost. What sort of mindset is going on in these boys' heads? That's what I ask. That's all I ask. 27, you've been world champion or had a world title shot and didn't get it. Why are you retiring now at 27? You don't love boxing, and for me, him walking in here, that does not look like a man that loves what he does. And a man that doesn't love what he does will never beat me. You see me? This is me. This is all I've got.
Absolutely.
I ain't got nothing else. I can't go nowhere. I can't do nothing else. I'll be in boxing to the point my body gives up and I'm losing to people that I shouldn't ever even lace my boots. That's when I'll start thinking about getting out of the ring. And then after that, I'm already managing fights. I've got champions. I manage a European champion, Thomas Somba, my old opponent. I've got prospects coming through. I've got other things I'm doing. I'm involved in that boxing game. The only thing I care about in getting my roots as deep as possible is this boxing world. I want to train fighters, manage, maybe promote, all in the future. And I want to do as much as I can with my boxing career and touch as many, storylines and be involved as many good fighters and their storylines and, hopefully beat them, because I feel like I'm a great fighter. It will only take a great fighter to beat me, but I need the competition. Because I've had 20-0. Okay, yeah, I might have won points, but they've been dominant point displays. I've won comfortably every single fight I've had. The final bell's gotten. There's no argument. It's a unanimous decision. There's the only argument it's been is, well, that was close on scorecards, and I thought. You know what I mean? How did he win 4 rounds? No way did he win 4 rounds. That's the only argument I've had on my fights. So.
Do you feel a bit of disrespect that there are people that you're considered an underdog in this fight, and you feel like I shouldn't be losing to this guy? This guy's not better than me. And honestly, that's kind of been a reoccurring thing, because when you fought Alvarado, people thought he's not going to beat Alvarado. He's going to get knocked the fuck out, and you made it look like it was easy. So does that motivate you more to just beat this guy? You need to get this win, because I should not be losing this fight, and they shouldn't think that.
Nah, not really, because I feel like the whole time I've boxed, I've always had to account for the fact that even though I box and win convincingly and comfortably and controlled, that, the general Joe public's eye will see the knockout and determine that was a much more, that's much more conclusive finish and result than a completely 36-minute shutout where you barely won a round. You know what I mean? Where for me, that person that got a knockout, they might have lost the first round and the third round, but they knocked them out in the fourth. Does that make them more in control, or do they just get the shot? Maybe if it went 8 rounds, they would have lost the fight.
So you think that, and because I've had this discussion before, so you think that getting shut out 12-0 is worse? It's worse to an opponent than getting knocked out.
Not only that, if I'm betting on a fighter to win, the fighter like myself, or the fighter like Devin Haney, or the fighter that just seems to go through all the rounds, always one step ahead. They're the easiest bets. Okay, the fight that might, they're getting a bit frustrated. Oh, yes, knockout. Yeah, it might be really exciting. But for me, the probability that they're going to keep winning and winning like that with that body of work compared to me, I don't need to hurt someone once in 12 rounds. I've done it. I've done it. Maruti, I didn't even knock him back. Still beat him. Walked him onto every single shot. I don't need to hurt someone to beat him. I can just get in 36 minutes. It's like a cakewalk for me. I don't get tired. 36 minutes, I can do it over and over and over and over, day after day after day after day.
So you never feel, though, because I've heard you mention that, how you fight in the ring is different how you fight in the gym. If people saw you in the gym, they think a lot different of what you are as a fighter. It's is there ever that itch to just I'm gonna go on the front foot and just back him down in an actual fight, or you just not care at all? It's you know what, there's no temptation at all with it.
There will be that time, but if you actually look at who I've fought, Maruti, Alvarado, even Bam's gonna be, they're very good level fighters that really, when you get in, maybe on the way up I could have been pushing more people back and got on the way of it, etc., and worked on the more exciting part. But coming up, I just wanted to make sure I got to that level. I just had to win. I didn't want to lose a round. You know what I mean? When I started hearing 118, 110s, I was disappointed in the ring that I'd lost a round.
That's the competitive nature in you.
I was like, fuck's sake, 118, 110, shit, that. Pissed off. That's where I was at the time. I just wanted to win every round. Didn't care about knockouts. Obviously, knockouts nice. I've never been a big puncher. I don't go in the ring trying to knock someone out. I can hit though. Everyone that gets in the ring with me, they can never just walk me down, because I can hit when I plant my feet. It's just that I don't stand there and go, all right, here's my opportunity. I just go pop, slip, pop, 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 and I just win the fight.
And
So-
really, if that's all you need, then why do anything else if it works?
And we're talking about points. If I land 7 punches, it makes it easier to win if they only land 1. You know what I mean? And if they're just looking to try and knock me out, if they don't knock me out, they'll get outboxed for the other 2.5 minutes of the round. They might have caught one, had a little flurry, but you probably still lost the round.
Absolutely. Now,
Probabilities, isn't it?
if you beat Bam, do you feel like there's no argument that you must be in the pound for pound? Sonny Edwards got to be top 10 pound for pound if he beats Bam. No question about it. You think that? Do you even care about pound for pound? Is that something
I
that?
don't. You know what? One, I don't really care about pound for pound because there's no right answer. Every month, whoever's just fought the biggest fight always gets like the new like push up. Yeah, like I said, opinions. 10 people can write a 10 pound for pound top 10, and they'll all be different. I think at least at some point in it. So yeah, it's nice when you start getting mentioned, but I feel like my visibility in world boxing is always ever growing. I feel like you just see random lists getting made from people from all over the place, and I might be their most underrated boxer, I might be their most overrated boxer, or their most liked boxer, most disliked boxer, and I don't mind where I fall on the scale. As long as you keep mentioning me, it means I'm in the mix. When I'm just seeing names like Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Tyson Fury, Joshua's, like just all the big names, and then my name's always constantly filtering through there. It's, you know, my visibility, and it's also showing that I'm managing to do it from a weight division where people don't ever do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it is the lower divisions are like the ones that people just gloss over. Oh, they're small, they're that, but they're some of the most skilled guys in boxing.
No, definitely, and I feel like efficiency-wise and logic-wise, you'll always see better skilled boxers at the lighter weights than you'll see at the heavier weights because it's so much easier for us to do it. It's easier for me to move my leg there and just lay the leg there. It's easier for me to move my hand up and down and get it there and back quick, efficiently. The bigger you are, the stronger you are, the more effort it requires, the more clumsy you might be, the more balance might come, the more the heavier punches might be coming back, you know what I mean? So you will always see, for me, like a pretty much consistent basis of the lighter they get, the more quicker, the more punches they throw, the more in control of themselves. Like, I think it's just like literally a correlative scale, but because there's not the names, if I was a middleweight coming through my first 10 fights, I would have, you know, beat a couple of old British fighters that everyone had heard of, and maybe there was on the slide, but now people had heard about the event, or, you know, beat him and people had heard of him. I went 20-0, and no one has really heard of any of the opponents, I thought, really, outside of boxing people. Bam was the biggest name, and even then, in the grand scheme of things, he's not the biggest name of boxing, you know what I mean? Like, this is the start of these weights. And
as a star of this division, you're
really
knocking out
off.
what a lot of people think of as the top guy in this division. So you knock him out. Like you knock him off, you're the undeniable one in around these parts. So there's nobody that can deny Sonny Edwards is the best.
But I think more than anything, for this weight division, you have a big fight like this, Edwards Rodriguez, no matter who the winner is, who the loser is, whoever fights us next, absorbs some of this. That's what people don't realize. Like, this event, this show, this fight, whatever happens, that whoever comes after us, they'll have to like see someone like me or like Bam or like another of the big names, because if they're just floating in like the flyweights level of obscurity, they might be the best fighters ever, but until you fight someone that people know of, like me, then you'll have the same problems that I had. And the only way I solved my problems was by being unbeatable, winning a world title at 25 years old, my first world title fight against someone that hadn't been beaten in 13 years. And then defend against my mandatory, and then took the fight as soon as it was offered to me. Like, just to get to this point, I've had to do all of that and probably got less credit, less props than a lot of the times I might have deserved, comparatively, to other fighters in other divisions. But comparison is the thief of joy. So that, you know, after Rodriguez versus Edwards, he'll have fights, I'll have fights, new fighters will come, challenge us. They'll be brought into the thing. We'll still be there because we're quite young. We can fight other people. There's so many storylines that can start coming from this, and I can't wait, because I feel like our division deserves it. And it might stop some of the champions, the Dalicanes, Martinez's, just sitting in their home arena, headlocking a world title, fighting voluntaries and mandatories, and not looking to fight the other champions. The most frustrating thing about boxing is when you become a champion, you get dropped out of all the other rankings. Did you know there's no way that I can force Bam into a ring, or Martinez into a ring, or Dalakane into a ring as a champion?
No, you can't.
If I weren't a champion, I could win WBO International or the European, and then get 5th, and then get 4th, and then get 3rd, and then become a mandatory challenger and force them into trying to fight me. But as a champion, The only thing I can do is call him out as well.
Absolutely. So, last question for you, Sonny. I know you're fighting for the belts, but you also fighting for a date with Carissa Shields. So, is that bet still on? I gotta know. Is that bet?
Well. You know, I put it out there. I was laughed at first, but a month later, the greatest woman of all time, greatest as I like to call her, she put out in public in interviews that if I beat Bam, she's a woman of her word. Whatever I want to do, if I want to fly her out somewhere, if I want to, I mean, and it's fine. So I think she's a woman of her word. So 16th of December, hopefully she's nice and ringside, so I can get her to hold the WBO. You know what I mean? And but then again, I never thought like, imagine if we got together. Her belt collection makes man look shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's something
really
to work
bad,
on.
Though.
Yeah.
Like, really bad. Like, I need to get some more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
But in all seriousness now, yeah, that's 100% serious on my side. I know it's a bit of jokes, maybe the dynamic, but you know, I mean, I think Clarissa's a very attractive lady. I think she's very confident, very talented. I've actually known her way before she knew me. I was a volunteer when she was 17. I was like 16, and she was an Olympic 2012 gold medalist. Well, I was a volunteer holding the flags.
There you
know
go.
I mean, so I knew who she was from years ago. And yeah, if I win, I mean, a little trip to the Bahamas or Bali or Dubai or wherever she fancies. You know what I mean? Disappear, no social media, no one know it even happened. You'll be asking me, what happened? I'll be like, nothing.